authenticity is about awareness, but then it's about skill, because often when we don't feel confident, it can be because we don't have the skill. So we keep doing things the way we've always done them, wondering why we're not getting a different result, but then giving up and going, well, I just won't try now because I've tried it so many times and nothing's changed. For example, with what was just shared about the woman that was reacting or exploding. I've tried to, navigate that situation a few different ways, but nothing's changing, so I'm kind of not going to try anymore. That would be a reasonable response. And we all have had those experiences. So often we can wait for confidence to show up before we try something new, but I'm a real advocate for learning something new, trying it, and then getting the confidence as we do that, which means we have to be willing to fail, which means we have to be willing to say, you know what, I stuffed up, I tried this, it didn't work, oh well, can I try again? Yeah. So it's about developing our skill and also being in action, because that creates our ability to find that authentic voice and speak it, yes? Rather than, I know what a lot of you are doing is waiting for the circumstances to line up before you feel you can speak your authentic voice. That's never going to happen. It's got to come from within. So, on a new piece of paper, the distinctions are skillful, yes, in our communication, and our willingness to own our stuff. So skillful communication skills, owning our stuff, or skill gaps. Yes, and this kind of builds on the framework we did in the last session too. So after this session, you could reflect on both together. And then the next one, the other axis is being active in our communication and peeling back our inauthenticities, or being avoidant. Okay, so your journey, so this is some of the how. Who was asking about the how before? Jackie? Was it Jackie who was asking about the how? This is some of the how. It's a bit more of the immersion, but a bit more of the how. So I'm going to share some things with you, and it's up to you now to start to look at where am I skillful? Where do I have skill gaps? Where am I in action and where am I avoiding? Okay? Yes, excellent. All right, so, okay, cool, thanks. Georgie's just giving me a time check. So if you're skillful and active, right? So you've been developing your skills over time, you're in action having the conversations, you're practicing speaking your authentic voice and listening in for when you're being inauthentic. I would call that the space of influencer. Healthy influencer, yeah? Authentic, real influencer. So you're able to engage with different people, connect, listen, ask different questions, and you can do that on the spot. And also, if you trip up and you start to talk over people, for example, you can go, oh, hang on a minute, I just talked over you then and I interrupted, I apologise. What were you saying? Tell me more about that. So you can catch yourself in the moment. I would call that the state of influencer, yes? And that is a state of being dynamic, can't read my own writing. This is a space of taking risks. And so I learnt this ability to take risks in my communication when I worked in restorative justice. And I've shared that with some of you who've been on the call before, where I would facilitate conferences between young people who broke the law and their victims and community members and police. So in that session with people with really strong emotions going on, people had been hurt and people had hurt each other, I had to learn to trust myself to take risks and ask questions that were the deep dive questions that no one really wanted to hear or answer. And so it's that practice of developing ourselves in this way where we can take risks in our communication and trust ourselves will clean it up. Part of being a leader or a woman in business is to be a coach, whether that's with your clients, whether that's with your team, your other stakeholders. Coaching skills are so important because they're about listening and quality questions. So you need to then be able to develop your ability to take risks in communication, yes? Most of the time we're playing it safe. And this is where tough conversations. So you're having the tough conversations, you're not shying away from them. Still can't read that writing. Okay, so you're with me? So if you're an influencer, that's where you are. If you've got skill gaps and you're avoiding, I'm calling you, and we all do this, a dodger, right? You're dodging You're dodging yourself and not owning the fact that you've got skill gaps, but you're also avoiding situations where you could actually grow. So if you're there sometimes, that's okay. I'm there sometimes too. So dodger is about avoiding and having skill gaps and not owning it that we've got skill gaps. And this is when we're fearful, blaming, yeah, and waiting. You with me? So this is a state of denial, yeah, and this is a state of the authentic confidence we're looking for. Because as I said, confidence comes with practice, yep. It doesn't come while we're sitting there waiting for it to come. So, yeah. Now, if you're skillful but you're avoidant, I'm calling that the weaver. So the weaver's got greater listening, kind of weaving, as in dodging is kind of just avoiding, right? So the weaver, though, is I'm skilled. I've got some skills that I've learned starting here, let's say, and all the other things we've talked about on other webinars. But I'm stuck with someone. There's one person in my team or one person in my community or network that I'm just, weaving around because I haven't yet worked out to have a powerful conversation with them or have the honest conversation I need to have. So I'm weaving, yeah? So this is where we're inconsistent. We're hesitant. Yep. And this is a state of doubt. So not always, we're not in one spot and stay there, just in that moment. If there's one person we're weaving around, yes? So we might have the skills, but we're making excuses for ourselves. So that would be the state of doubt in that moment, yeah? And then the person so this is interesting. So remember last week when I gave you a distinction, a nuanced distinction? This is sort of similar. So if we've got skill gaps and we're active, there's kind of person in mind that I think about sometimes when I'm thinking about this, and I would call them the enforcer. So they're actually thinking that they're skillful, so they're out there doing it, but they're kind of like just stomping all over people, right? So they're the enforcers. And so they're misreading situations. Yes, they're not listening, and they're trying to change other people. And triangle means change. Trying to change others, yes? So they're the enforcers. So they actually don't know what they don't know. They don't realise that they're here and they're causing some damage. So those people aren't awake so much yet. And we all have been there. I have certainly been there. And sometimes even you think you're awake and you're not. You're asleep in that moment because you've been triggered. We all have that, right? And so this other state here is when I'm active and I'm developing my skills. This is a beautiful word called cultivator. So I'm cultivating my skills. I'm willing to be courageous and grow. So I'm out there in the world practicing these conversations. I might say something like, hey, I want to have this conversation with you. I'm still learning how to do this in a way that feels empowering for both of us. Would you be willing to listen and then maybe give me some feedback to let me know how it's landed for you? So I'm being open and authentic and courageous, yes? So this is the cultivator. So they're learning and practicing. They're being courageous and vulnerable, yeah? They're still developing their skills, which we always are, but they're out there, they're not avoiding, okay? And so what did I call this? Oh, so this one was ego. Yeah, that's kind of the state of ego. And this is the state of growth. So Carol Dweck talks about growth mindset and fixed mindset in her book, Mindset. So are we in a growth mindset? You're here on this call, you're in a growth mindset, which I absolutely respect and love. And sometimes, though, we can still all go into a fixed mindset, not knowing it, not being awake to it. So that's sometimes where we can be. But if you're in cultivator, then you're in growth mindset, yes? All right, so got this so far? Give me some feedback to let me know this is cool. Here's the other piece I want to give you. How much time have I got, Georgie?
10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Here's the other piece I want to give you. When you're thinking about the impact on others, so remember when I shared with you about the vulnerability webinar? And I was doing my thing for the first 10 minutes and the team were like a bit tense because I was trying to get it right. You're going to have an impact on people. Always, even peace people and rules people who think they don't have an impact on others. Sometimes I work with people in this place and they don't realise their ripple effect. They think they're invisible in some way, right? But no, we all have a ripple effect. And so the ripple effect on your team or those around you or your network. So in this one, what's a good pen? Maybe I'll use red. So in the state of influencer, love this, people are transforming, right? How good is that? So no, we're not perfect, but we're transforming. So you're like the petri dish for people to transform within the space that you create, yes? Because you're actively doing the work. So they feel courageous enough and safe to do the work. Amy Edmondson, who is a professor of leadership at Harvard Business School, she talks about psychological safety. Psychological safety, feeling like it's safe to be me, safe to say what I need and want to say. So people are transforming in that state. In this state, people, what am I saying here? Underperforming. So if you're a dodger, people are underperforming. Now that could be in your family. They don't feel comfortable, they're not feeling safe, yes? And that can be, you know, sometimes when, as parents, we're putting pressure on our children, yes? We're not dealing with the real stuff. Sometimes our kids might be in that state where they really want to do well, but they're feeling this pressure. And they could feel that at school. So it's in leadership in all areas of life. People are questioning here. If you're a weaver and you're inconsistent, people are questioning around you. Well, I know they've got these skills. Why aren't they having this conversation? So that starts to break down trust, yes? And then here, people are in, if you're an enforcer and you're stomping around over people, people are disconnecting. Are disconnecting with you. They might say yes to your face, but they're actually not agreeing with you, really, yeah? So they're going off doing their own thing. And then in here, people are developing in the cultivator. Because you're growing and developing, they're coming with you, yes? Is this good? I'm loving this. I hope you are too. So I think that's all I wanted to give you. Oh, then I've got the solution. So first I want you to choose where you're at. I'm going to give you a minute to choose where you think you are in the area that you want to speak your authentic, confident voice more. Because you'll be all of that, but just find one area where you're not speaking your authentic voice and choose that. So go. A minute to do that.